Good morning, everyone out there at the Center for Spiritual Living for Los Angeles. Whether you're joining us on Zoom or on Facebook or wherever you are this morning, want to give you a big warm welcome. My name is James Harper. It's so good to be back with you as always. Let's just get started, shall we? Okay, it's alright with me. Some things are just meant to be. It never comes easily, and when it does, I'm already gone. I'm practically never still, more likely to move until I end up alone. And well, my life continues inching along. When Bernadette comes, I get lost on her time. She's much too sweet, and she's always gonna be. And when I return to her arms and her eyes, it might not be the same, but it's alright with me. Okay, it's alright with me. Some people are scared to see what's happening frequently, but I would never shy from a fight. Heartbeat without hiding it often will go hand in hand, but I'm sick of just hiding plans. I want to spend the rest of my life. Oh, when Bernadette comes, I get lost on her time. She's much too sweet, and she's always gonna be. When I return to her arms and her eyes, it might not be the same, but it's alright with me. It's alright with me. Oh yeah, it's alright with me. Yeah, yeah, it's alright with me. Oh, it's alright with me.
Opening up our service with that beautiful song, and your beautiful music is all right with me.
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Donald James Harper. So good to see you this morning,
Great to see you as always.
and so happy to have you sharing your gift today with us and bringing us music and energy and passion.
Yes, sir.
So, how are you?
Can't complain, having a good March so far. Maybe a little bit
I
out of the.
love it. It is March 5th.
It is March 5th. The weather can't make up its mind this morning. It's interesting.
It's weather. You know what? My father used to always ask me, "How's the weather in California?" And I'd always answer him, "It's changing."
I like that a lot, actually.
Because just like life for all of us, it's all changing. The key is for us to learn how to embrace that change in a way that reflects our divinity and understand the power that we each have as divine beings, right?
Truth.
Good. So I know that you and I are going to share in that together today, with you bringing music and I bringing inspiration and message, and you bringing inspiration through music as we take us on our celebration service for the Center for Spiritual Living today.
Sounds perfect.
Good. Well, I look forward to seeing you in a moment.
Okay.
So, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox here, the spiritual leader at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, and welcome to our virtual home, where we come together on Sunday mornings to step into that state of remembrance of who we are and to tune in to the power that we each have as divine beings walking this planet, navigating our humanity and the intersection of our divinity. We are a community that has come together for many, many years, and it's my honor and my privilege and my pleasure to welcome you into our community today, whether you're joining us through Zoom or through our new method of streaming YouTube Live, and or at a later date you're viewing us. Know that exactly where you are in this very moment, you are the perfection and the wholeness and the completeness of the divine, fully expressed. And even though you are fully expressed, and in addition to being fully expressed, there's more that we get to be. And we access that through the channel of our mind. And today in our service. We are going to look at ways to do that. We're going to give ourselves permission to open up and experience more of that and just connect to that power that is within us. And so I welcome you and I honor you for taking the time to honor yourself. This first portion of our service will have slides to go along with it, and I'm going to put those on the screen right now as we move into, if you will, the benediction and the opening of our service. And so we are the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. We come together to support individuals find their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Whether we're in person or through this great technology that provides us the opportunity to connect, it's important to meet and greet each other just exactly where we are. Obviously, through the use of technology, we do that today in the sense of just the internal knowing. In the screen, we see the hands in the act of namaste, moving into, in many beliefs, is a prayer position. I invite each and every one of us, no matter where you are today and where you may be seated or reclining or hopefully not driving, but if you are driving, keep your hands on the wheel, unless you have a Tesla automated vehicle, and stay very tuned in. But place your hands in prayer position today on your heart, just feeling that connection as we say hello to each other, acknowledging the oneness that exists within us, and take a deep breath in together. And exhale and say together, Namaste. Namaste is that act of the divine within me, honoring and acknowledging that which is within you. And as you express that, I receive that. So once again, deep breath in. As we exhale, bowing forward, Namaste. I welcome you into our space today, reminding you that as a community, we teach primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. I'm going to talk about that today in my message, along with a few of other New Thought philosophies, New Thought teachings, that all really center around the power of the divine being all that there is in life at that absolute level, that there's only one thing ever taking place. Its source is the divine, it's the thing itself, also called God. You and I individualize that power, and we experience it and express it through our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions and our interactions with the very thing itself called life. And because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, it responds to us by corresponding and brings forth through us experiences in life that are a reflection of the totality of our consciousness. One of the things that drew me into this teaching was the first time hearing, change your thinking, change your life. And in as much as that is very elementary and very simplistic, it really is a foundational tool to what we teach here and what we practice at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, along with many other metaphysical, New Thought-based teachings. And so I invite you today to become more tuned in to how you express your divinity, to think about changing your thinking and ultimately knowing that our life indeed will change. Once again, the vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. We're taught in this teaching that a spiritual awakening is the remembrance that we have of that we're floating in this infinite sea of consciousness. All that is, all that will ever be, all that ever was exists right here and right now for you and I to think and to be, to experience and express the allness of that by choosing to fine-tune our consciousness, to honor the power of the divine that exists within every one of us, every single one of us. We are the stamp of individuality that Spirit has placed upon us. And so in that vein, we welcome and honor all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We stand with you, honoring you in an act of namaste, and want to go even further with that and use our words to affirm and state that you, just as you are safe here with us at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. And we welcome you, as well as we welcome one, and we welcome all. We'd like to start our service, if you will, even though we've already started, but bringing into our consciousness the awareness of our awareness through a ritual called calling in the light. And so I invite you to look at the flickering flame of the candle on the screen, the light of the divine. And then let's each move our mindset, our awareness into this light, knowing that it indeed reflects the light of the divine that exists in each and every one of us. So today we perform this ceremony, this ritual, to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. And the purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a more conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we each possess as complete expressions of the divine. They are peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. Peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. When we tune into these qualities and live from those and allow them to be present in our reality, that constitutes an opening for healing. We like to look at this light that we've called in, that flickering of the flame, and if we were in person, we would light a candle. We like to refer to that in this moment as the healing candle. So I invite you to take a moment and think of anyone that you would like to silently or in the privacy of your own environment affirm their name out loud, to put into the light of the healing flame, to experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. This month, our theme, as we start the month, and a new theme is It's Healing Time. Let's stop this for just 1 second, sorry. I just want to look at something. Let's all step into that healing. And I have this prayer for us for healing today. The Divine Spirit is all-loving. It's a powerful energy that heals and restores everything in this universe. The same healing energy is present within me. It flows through every cell of my body, and I feel enormous joy to feel this healing energy working within my body. As it heals and restores me, making me whole again, I release all hate, all fear, and negative emotions that hinder my healing. I accept my healing with an open heart. I accept my natural state of being. And I feel and know that I'm whole. I feel rejuvenated. I feel the divine. I'm grateful for this healing, and I let it be. Amen. James is going to come on the screen and take us through the final stage of this ritual of singing the song Calling in the light. The call and response song, and he will guide us through that portion. And feel free to
calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Repeat after me. I am love, I am peace in my heart, I am free, I am spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
And so it is. I state this each time you sing that song, James. You have such a sweet nature to how you do that song, with it being the revealing of the perfection of the peace and the power and the beauty and joy that exist in and as you. And the lyrics, as you sang, I am whole, right? That resonates with me. And I know that in life, for each and every one of us, there's times that we forget that within us we are indeed whole, right? We let life get to us, and it's hard to remember that that exists. And sometimes it's even harder to remember how to return to that, to
Right.
let that out. I
I
was,
like how you said it's kind of like an uncovering, like you're
yeah,
gently pulling the other stuff aside and be like, oh, I am whole. I
right.
actually feel this. Yeah.
Well, it's about, there's a quote that I have that I'm going to possibly use later, but I'll share it now. I pulled it that by Dr. Michael Beckwith that says, you think that you're carrying this light, the light of the divine, the light we just called in, but the light is carrying you,
Mm,
right? We're taught that we are trying to pull our divinity into us, right? But it's really about eliminating anything else. Like darkness doesn't have power, the light has the power. So it's removing the darkness.
right. Shining it on the darkness. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So the journey of healing, which I'm going to speak about after your next song, really is about that remembrance, right? Of remembering it's there, and then doing what we can, whether we can do it for ourselves or have others help us with that, of removing those obstacles.
I like that a lot. Actually, that kind of feeds into what my next song is about.
I know. Tell us about the song and what it means to you.
Well, it's called "Bet I Made," and it's a bit more of an introspective song, but to me, it's really a call to action.
Uh huh.
Because we have things happen to us, or we have hard experiences in life. We can choose to try to run, we can choose
Right.
to try to cover them up, or we can choose to try to pursue light and healing.
Right.
And that's kind of what this song
Oh,
means.
fabulous. Thank you. Fabulous. Take it away.
I took a plane over the stars. It didn't get me very far. Oh, but all my problems still follow me. I flew to the moon. It wasn't far enough away from you, and all my problems still follow me. And every night I close my eyes, all my troubles fade. And every morning when I rise, I'm just sleeping in this bed I made. One million times inside of my mind, and oh, I've justified, baby, but all my problems still follow me. And I discovered a way to cleverly avoid blame, but all my problems still follow me. And I bet that every night I close my eyes, all my troubles fade. And every morning when then I rise, just sleeping in this bed I made. Oh, I can't outrun the pain. Should've faced these demons as they came, and what I wouldn't trade, oh, to make some room in this bed that I made. Well, that every night I close my eyes, and all my troubles fade. Every morning when then I rise, just sleeping in this bed. I'm sleeping in this bed. Oh, I'm sleeping in this bed that I made. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So fabulous. Thank you. And the lyrics do tell us that it's really about honoring the life we've made, the life that goes, our life that's going on, and yet when we turn within into a state of restoration, right? That's when things get better, because that's where the healing happens, right?
Right.
So,
And the bed that we made could also be a great bed filled with light and healing.
absolutely good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, what a great segue into our new theme for the month, which is it's healing time. And I really I want to talk about this today, and I want us to begin to look at healing in our philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. It's a term that's both thrown around a lot. I use it a lot, and it's also one that is very ethereal by nature, as well as quite mystical. So today we're going to begin to break it down in a way that we can look at these different elements of its mystical nature, its ethereal nature, and its practical nature, both in the physical sense as well as from a soulful perspective of a fine-tuning of our mind, remembering that we live in a universe where that which we think and believe and know ourselves to be is what shows up in our world. It's healing time, baby. Time for a healing. The traditional definition for healing from the Oxford Dictionary is this: the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. Now, when I read that and prepared it for today in this traditional definition, I felt like it was a little judgy, right? But let's look at it in the sense of the physical, of the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again, meaning removing that which is diseased or that which is disoriented with our wholeness, that which is disconnected from our wholeness, separate from that, right? And let's tune in just to the remembrance that we've all had the experience of that becoming healthy again, right? We've all had it, whether it's through the cut of a finger or having had some disease, or with myself recently of COVID, or a multitude of things. And some of you may be in the process of that becoming healthy again in this very moment. And what I'd like to remind us of is that that is not an external job. It is an internal job. And so let's take the concept of healing a bit deeper. From a Christian approach, a Christian philosophy, they believe, and it is addressed, that the act of divine healing, which unfolds for sure, is the belief that God heals people through the power of the Holy Spirit. Divine healing, according to Kidd, means the restoring of health through the direct intervention of God. The products of such an intervention constitutes miracles. Now, if one were to use that language in our philosophy, faith, and way of life, it actually has some gravitas, some meaning. But I do think that this paragraph prompts one to reflect and to review your own personal definitions and identities with such words as God and intervention and miracle. If we were to frame that in language of our philosophy, faith, way of life, the God that we speak of is that all-knowing, omnipotent power that is infinite by nature, that is impersonal by nature, that is the very essence of life, that expresses itself through you and through me in its wholeness and its completeness and its perfection. And the intervention, if you will, is not an intervention of it intervening with us. It's us removing anything that doesn't reflect its innate nature, which we've spoken of a multitude of times, and even today, that those qualities at a very basic level are peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. So therefore, the miracle that we speak of, as referenced in the Course in Miracles, is a shift in perspective from our philosophy, faith, and way of life. This teaching is that it's a movement in mind to an alignment to our divinity. It's realigning our thinking to that of our wholeness, to that of our perfection, of that spiritual truth that all is well and all is the divine already exist. And so today I invite us to begin to see this, no matter what we have known in the journey of our practicing a new thought way of living, with a new mindset, or a mindset to be built upon. For the act of healing, whether it's the act of physical healing or the healing of the self, isn't new to New Thought. In fact, quite the contrary. In a message that was delivered by Dr. Larry Morris at the 1992 International New Thought Alliance Congress, titled New Thought, Healing, and World Religions, he says healing is the foundation of the New Thought movement. A majority of the founders and early practitioners of New Thought, which is what we are here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, aligned with that overarching group of philosophies called New Thought. I'm going to start that again. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. A majority of the founders and early practitioners of New Thought had healing experiences, meaning physical healing experiences, as their initiation into the principles and teachings of this movement. Indeed, the teachings themselves were formulated out of the healing experiences of many of its founders. Quimby, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and Nona Brooks, to name a few. All experienced life-transforming healings which propelled them into this movement called New Thoughts. From its earliest beginnings in the 1860s until now, New Thought has concerned itself with healing as a basic point of focus. Its major premises have arisen from this primary concern. Personally, I came into this teaching and tuned into it from that resonance field, meaning I resonated with these acts of physical healing. At the time, AIDS was on the forefront of our world in the early 80s, and it was not an uncommon thing that people, certainly in my sphere, were dying, and dying a very tragic, traumatic death, and quickly. And so certainly I resonated with the teaching that was not only you're not a sinner, but who and what you are is whole, perfect, and complete. And by aligning with this and letting the law of life respond by corresponding to a state of mind of tuning into that, can indeed reveal that perfection, wholeness, and completion. And in so doing, eradicate, if you will, a disease in the being. Incredibly high idea. Very philosophical, and yet also true and unfolding in many ways. And one that certainly I was drawn to, as I'm sure many of you were, the healing of dis-ease through our shifting in consciousness. And it has indeed happened out there for many people. And please know that if it's not happening in your life or hasn't, there is no judgment here. It's just this understanding of what we're drawn to for the evolutionary nature of our consciousness, individually and collectively. It was at this time in the early 80s when I was drawn here that the great teacher of this element, in a more practical way than ever before, came into being. Her name was Louise Hay, and she wrote the book, You Can Heal Your Life. Louise Hay was a student of science of mind, of Raymond Charles Barker in New York, a student of Ernest Holmes, steeped in the principles and the practical applications of this philosophy of the science of mind. She was able to align in a way that we could each understand, both through that book, but in a very linear, practical, but very compassionate way, the correlation, the literal correlation between the mind, the body, and the soul. Holmes had spoken of this way of healing before. And the quote that reflects that is this: healing is the discovery of the divinity within. Much like James sung about in the song a while ago, it's the discovery of that which is in. Over the last few weeks, the concept of discovery is a word that, excuse me, continue. Boy, my body's, well, like, girl, you got to discover something right now. Discovery is a word that continues to show up for us. Last week and leading up to is that last week, it was through the card that was pulled that Holmes says that thinking, the ability to think, is one of the greatest discoveries the human has ever made. This discovery of the divinity within and our ability to think and our ability that our thinking impacts our life itself is the first step and steps into the acts of healing. Healing our lives, meaning removing that which isn't reflective of our divinity. And certainly the primary focus often is on physical healing. In the book, The Science of Mind, in the glossary, Holmes says as the definition of healing this: mental healing is really what we're talking about here. I know I just said physical healing, but it all goes back to mind, because mind is all there is. Mental healing means mind healing. To heal means to make whole. Healing is the result of clear thinking and logical reasoning, which presents itself to consciousness and is acted upon by it. The whole idea of healing, he goes on to write, when understood, is the substitution of truth for sense testimony. The whole idea of healing, when understood, is the substitution of truth, right? Spiritual truth, that we are perfect, we are whole, we are complete, that we are innately designed with peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And he's saying by focusing on that as opposed to sense testimony, in other words, living life, letting our senses guide us, and then affirming that. In other words, living a life that is emotion driven or condition or circumstance driven or thinking from life from the basis of what has happened in the past, that is the foundation for what our future shall look like, as opposed to thinking at the level of cause, or thinking at the level of creation, or thinking at the level of the absolute and the divine, and letting the law of life do its part to bring forth experiences that reflect that. That in itself alone can be declared acts of healing. If you and I are to be practitioners of healing, meaning ones that practices the acts of healing by fine-tuning our thinking, or if we are to be healing agents or truth thinkers or truth action peeps, we have to remember who we are and the power that we have and live from that place. We have to follow what the great Louise Hay taught us in this particular quote from the book, You Can Heal Your Life. She writes, "You have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that. We think so often we're helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. Claim and consciously use your power." Let's take that in. Go old school metaphysics, baby. You have the power to heal your life, and you need to know that. We think so often that we're helpless, but we're not. We always have the power of our minds. Claim and consciously use your power. I invite you to affirm with me aloud right now, so that everyone within a 2-mile radius can hear you say this. I'm going to state this affirmation and then we'll do it together. The affirmation is, I have the power to heal my life right now. I know this and my action reflects it. Let's do it together. I have the power to heal my life right now. I know this and my actions reflect it. The actions of reclaiming our power. We talked about this, of claiming our power over the last few weeks. James just sang a song about it. And we've learned over the last few weeks, and now it's all been leading up to us knowing why it's important to do that, because it's through using our words and leaning into the willingness to live in the miracle, to live in the act of healing, and by having the intention to do so and the intention to be willing, that we then perpetuate the opportunity to have a shift in our perspective. And it's from this perspective that we move from confusion or a state of helplessness or forgetfulness to one of clarity. One of clarity of the power within us that actually does the healing, the revealing of itself through us. Well, what is the first step in living from that perspective? Continuing to use Louise Hay, she tells us this: awareness is the first step. Awareness is the first step in healing or changing. She goes on to say, and this is a little challenging, but let's just hear her out. If you think of the hardest thing for you to do and how much you resist it, then you're looking at your greatest lesson at the moment. It's a hard pill to swallow. But what she's telling us is, and let's not let that overwhelm us, but this is an example of extreme in using our mind. If we were to look at the most difficult challenge, the hardest thing we have in front of us and how we resist it, that's the very thing that we are to confront, if you will, through the act of healing and knowing that the first step is one of awareness. It's one of an awareness of the power that we're imbued with and the opportunities that we have before us. We're being told in this quote from Louise Hay, to wake up. To wake up and to stretch our minds and to set our intentions, and with that be willing to know who we are. And to then move to a mirror, as we've been told for the last few weeks. She tells us one of the great ways to engage in this healing is to look in the mirror and say, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. To keep saying it until you really feel it. Now remember, I shared with you a couple of weeks ago one of the most powerful transformative moments in my life was when a very similar act was bestowed upon me to do that through a workshop that I had attended with the great teacher Raymond Charles Barker, who just happens to have been Louise Hay's teacher. Notice the theme. Look in the mirror and say, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. That's a hard thing to do if the physical circumstances and conditions that we're confronted with appear to be overwhelming or daunting or the dominant power. Years ago in the 80s, and actually in the 90s, a dear friend of mine was indeed dying from AIDS. And we had an agreement in our very close-knit group of friends that when the end came, he lived in Atlanta, that I would go back to Atlanta and be with him during that time. One of our dear friends was a physician, and from a clinical perspective, he says, this is it, come home. And I did. And we moved our friend out onto the couch to have the conversation with him of, all right, what do we do? Like, what are the next steps? Not in regards to his passing specifically, but how can we help you in this situation? How can we fulfill your desires once you have moved to the next dimension? And not uncommon to his behavior in life, he became very stubborn and very resistant to any conversation or any acknowledgement, really, that death was before him. And in that moment, I had a remembrance at a very soulful level of this act of doing this. And I looked him in the eye, and at this point it was just he and I, our other friend had left the room. And I said, you're not going to die, are you? And he looked at me and said, no, I'm not. And once again, every physical scenario in this situation was, that is indeed what was going to happen. And I said to him, are you sure? And he said, yes, I'm sure. And I said, then we have to engage in some healing. And not only did I do spiritual mind treatment for him, but I made a commitment to him that a year from then I would do my first ever AIDS ride, the bike ride from San Francisco to LA. I made a commitment to him that I would not do it in his memory, only in his honor, and that we would begin the work, obviously him doing the work of the healing. And I put him in a chair, in this big throne-like chair, and he was very grandiose, and put him in front of a mirror in his entryway and said to him, you have to look in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you. And that was one of the most difficult things for him to do, and yet he did it. And then did it again and again and continued to do that. And that, along with the drugs that came along at that time, this beautiful man, my dear friend, is living today, alive and well. And there have been periods in his life when the virus, they've been unable to see it in his blood work. So we have within us the power to overcome the greatest of obstacles. And yet, so often we forget it. Today, you and I are called upon to just create a new mindset, a new opportunity, a willingness to use this power in a new way. Yes, it comes in handy in states of desperation, but we also can use it as inspiration. It's healing time here today, March 5th in the year 2023. It's talked about in many self-empowerment philosophies as well as in Christianity. In A Course in Miracles, this is what's talked about in the concept of healing. It says healing thus becomes a lesson in understanding, and the more you practice it, the better teacher and learner you become. If you've denied truth, what better witness to its reality could you have than those who've been healed by it? I just shared a story with you of that. But it goes on to say in the book, but be sure to count yourself among them. For your willingness, that word again, for your willingness to join them is your healing accomplished. Let's hear that again. Be sure to count yourself among them. Why? Because you are among them. We all are. And it's for in your willingness to join into this tribe of human/divine beings, which we already are, your healing is accomplished. Every miracle that you accomplish speaks to you of the fatherhood of God. Obviously, language we don't typically use here, but we know what it means. It goes on to tell us that every healing thought that you accept, either from your brother or sister or in your own mind, teaches us that we are indeed God's child, meaning one with that which is. In every hurtful thought we hold, whether you perceive it or not, lies the denial of this fatherhood and your childship, if you will, A Course in Miracles. What it's telling us then is that just like in the 80s and just like in the 60s and just like in the turn of the century when New Thought came into being in the late 1800s and when it began in the early 1800s, when we're willing to change our thinking, we change our life. So let's each declare that today is the day. Today, right now, this moment, is the day to declare and prepare for healing. Even in the great book, the Bible, it's addressed this aspect, this concept, this journey of healing. In the book Jeremiah, it says, behold, I will bring to it health and healing, and I will heal them and reveal to them abundance of prosperity and security. We're being told here that the divine is here to provide to us healings that will bring to us an abundance of prosperity and security. Prosperity in this sense, of course, it means wealth, but it also means health, good health, and the security is peace of mind. And so healing doesn't mean to go back. When we open and are willing to this healing starting right now, as Ram Dass tells us, that healing doesn't mean going back to the way things were before, but rather allowing what is now, this very moment, the state of mind right now, the fine-tuning into our divinity right now to move us closer to God. God, the infinite, the impersonal, the creator, source, the thing itself, the one mind. And to let the consciousness of all that have come before us, each and every metaphysician that has leaned into the aspect of healing to buoy us, to carry us, to be our roots as we move forward. Emma Curtis Hopkins, one of the great metaphysicians of all times, in her book, The 12 Lessons of Spiritual Healing, addresses this concept of healing in the science of mind and for each of us to use it. She says the first lesson of the science of mind tells the foundation idea of mind. It's been called the statement of being. Being that which is. It is certain that the good, God, that is for us is the good we ought to have. How shall we arrive at it? How shall we get hold of our good? Not by working with our hands, for countless ages of labor have failed. And open your mind when you hear this next piece. She writes, it's by the Jesus Christ method. The Father and I are one. The Jesus Christ method is the truth method. Jesus Christ means truth. The Jesus Christ method brings fulfillment of all of our expectations. Also in the book of Jeremiah, it's addressed, I alone know my purpose for you, the power says the good, the God, the truth. My purpose for your prosperity, and my purpose not to harm you, my purpose to give you hope with a future in it. Let's let go of any attachments we have to the words Jesus or Christ or God and tune into this essence of what it's telling us is that when we live in the truth of the purity of life that exists within us and we're expressing at this moment because it's here, baby, and let it live out its revealing of itself through us, then indeed healing happens. It's important for us to know that our time to experience our good, this healing, is right now. Hopkins goes on to write, the expectation of good has been a long time waiting for us to declare what our expectations are. To expect good and to be very definite in the mind that it is coming is to indeed see it coming. Today, I affirm for each of us that we see it coming. We see it coming in every way in life. That today we choose to be open and receptive to the healing energies of the universe. That we affirm and know that every cell in our body is intelligent and that it knows how to heal itself. That we affirm for ourselves that our body is always working towards perfect health. That we release any and all impediments to thinking in this way of perfection, ultimately revealing the healing. That we open ourselves to learn in new ways about nutrition and feed our bodies nourishing and wholesome food that keep us mentally and physically in tune and acute and aware. I know that for each and every one of us today, we choose to release and eliminate and wipe out any thoughts of hatred, jealousy, anger, fear, self-pity, shame, or guilt. And that today, in this very moment, no matter what's going on in our physicality, we choose to love our body and send love to each organ, bone, muscle, and every other part of our body. And that we flood the cells of our body with love, the self-givingness of spirit, and allow it to do its thing through us right now. And we then accept for ourselves healing and good health right here, right now, for it's taking place. Let's open and know together that it's healing time, baby. It's healing time. And so it is. Thank you. James is going to come back and sing a song for us to continue the healing.
Too many shadows in my room. Too many hours in this midnight. Too many corners in my mind. Too much to do to set my heart right. Oh, It's taking so long. I could be wrong, I could be ready. But oh, if I take my heart's advice, I should assume it's still unsteady. And I am in repair. I am in repair. Sit on the corner for a while, hey, to wait the wind to blow down on me, hoping it takes away my own weight, yeah, and bring some brand new luck upon me. Oh, it's taking so long. I could be wrong, I could be ready. You didn't know. Oh, but if I take my heart's advice, and I should assume it's still unsteady, 'cause I am in repair. I am in repair. Now I'm walking in the park, and all the birds they dance below me. Yeah, baby, when things turn green again, oh, it will be good to say you know me one more time. Oh, it's taking so long, and I could be wrong, I could be ready. Oh, but if I take my heart's advice, and I should assume it's still unsteady, I'm in repair. I'm not together, but I'm getting there. Said I'm in repair. I'm not together, but I'm getting there. Yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. I'm in repair. I'm not together, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And I'm in repair. I'm not together, but I'm getting there. Ooh.
What a great reminder. We're on our way, baby, on our way. Thank you, James.
Oh no way.
Thank you so much for being here today. And as you bring such wonderful energy through your heart here, and I just love it. And we all have a rich history, and so glad that you're here. And just to let everyone know, you'll be one of the musicians for our Easter service in person in
Yes. So excited about that.
I know we're putting together a great group, so it's going to be a fun day of beautiful music and community together and celebrating a transformation and all of that. So it'll be good. It's in April. I don't have the date in front of me. I think it's April 12th, but I'm not sure. April
That
9th.
sounds
I don't
right.
know. It'll be published when the time comes.
Ninth.
Yeah, so April 9th. That's it. So, yes. All right. Well, so thank you for being here. Let's honor and appreciate Donald James Harper, everyone. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
A big thank you also to Travis Smith, our audio tech today, for taking care of our audio needs, and Robert Hensley for keeping us connected social media wise and administratively wise, and monitoring our connection to YouTube Live today. And a big thank you to all of you that are here through Zoom, as well as through our YouTube Live, as well as following us at a later date on our YouTube channel. If you want to know more about who and what we are, you can find out on our website, csl-la.org. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out early in the week each week. hence the term weekly. If you're not receiving that and would like to, you can sign up for that on our website or at the app in the App Store. Our app is Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're on all the social media sites, not TikTok, but we're certainly on YouTube. That's not a social media site, but Facebook, Instagram. I think those are the ones. And on our YouTube channel, you can find past talks if you'd like to do that, as well as on our Facebook Live or our Facebook page, you can find past meditations. So some upcoming events, next Saturday, which is the 11th of March, we are participating with Congregation Kolami at our home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, a community service project of packing lunches that are then carried to an organization that then takes them and distributes them to people that are homeless. And so that happens from 1 to 3 next week. I think the preference is that you sign up. That information is on our website as well as in our weekly e-newsletter, and we send out emails around that. So know that that's out there. Sorry for the noisy chair. So if you'd like to do that, would very much like to honor you doing that and welcome you to participate in that. We've done it before, and it's a great experience of coming together and doing good on this planet, being with like-minded people. Next Sunday, we're back in person again at 1200 North La Brea Avenue. That is our home, and that is at 10:30 on Sunday morning. Next week is the spring forward, so clocks will move ahead on Saturday night, so just prepare for that in advance. Also, I'd like to not only invite each and every one of you to come and participate next Sunday morning, but also bring a friend. It would be wonderful to add to the beings, physical beings in the house with the energy there. And we also are now doing our coffee and snacks afterwards, so we can stand around and say hello and communicate with each other, which is great to do that as well. I want to remind you that on Wednesday morning at 8:30 we come together and have a midweek morning meditation online through Zoom. You can find that information through our various sources I've stated before, as well as each day at 7:30 a.m. there is a new thought for the day text that goes out, and it's a wonderful way, just like the meditation, to go back to that state of remembrance that these old school metaphysicians have trained us in. That is the first act of stepping into healing. We'd like to invite you to support us financially, and know that the way to do that is through a variety of ways. I'm going to put that on the screen right now and invite us to use that as we each support our community, and know that the ways to do that is to go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate, or use the app in the App Store. Guides on the screen as to how to do that. Also, you can mail in a check. Our address is 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California. Or you have my phone number on the screen, and you can do that. You can call me, and I can do that privately. I'd like to close today by us singing together the song, Love Is My Decision. James is going to take us through that in just a moment. And to know that you please support us to the best of your ability financially, and know that each and every amount donated is put to great use and makes a difference. We are a tithing community. 10% of everything that comes in goes back out. We just sent a tithe out this week to LA Family Housing to support that organization and the really good work that they do, and are in conversation with them right now about what would be a way for us to do community service with them again. We've done that in the past, and as we get more details, we will keep you up to date on that. And so before we sing our song and say goodbye, I'd just like to reaffirm for each and every one of us exactly where we are right now is the perfect and right place to express our perfection and wholeness. I said at the beginning of our service that just where you are, perfection exists by means of you. And so today, let's all begin to live from that place of the Jesus Christ way, not meaning we need to get nailed to some cross to find out who we are, but the way of knowing that we're here to engage in miracles. And those miracles are a shift in our perspective of knowing who we are as a divine being. The way to do that is let the self-givingness of Spirit give of itself to itself through us. And we do that by making the decision that the power of love that we're imbued with is the way that we live. And so James is going to sing it to us. The lyrics are "Love is my decision." What are the rest of the lyrics, James? Can you just read them off to us real quick, please?
Up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision right here, right now.
Great. So let's all feel free to sing along, and James is going to take us out. Thank you.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. Once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision, right here, right now.
And so it is. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic Sunday, a fantastic week, and thank you for sharing yourself as you're healing, moment by moment, thought by thought. Have a great day. Thank you.
See you soon.